Welcome to our ESG podcast by Loda and Co LLP. In part 1 of our series about human rights in business, we talked about extensive research we conducted and its findings. In part 2, we will be exploring more about human rights principle of BRSR framework. I am Raj Kachrekar and joining me today is Sachin Sonavane, an ESG associate at Loda and Co LLP. Join in for an insightful conversation. So Sachin, let's begin with investors. How the information in BRSR report can be most crucial for confident investment decisions regarding a company's human right approach.
Thank you, Raj, for kind introduction. BRSR provides with all essential non-financial details to the investors for evaluating risk and opportunities associated with the reporting company. The information related to the businesses and human rights, which includes the training to the employees and workers on human rights, detail about the employees and worker well-being, complaints or the grievances management scheme or redressal mechanism, compensation structure and disparities gaps, issues and practices related to diversity, equality and inclusiveness, impact of human rights issues on business processes. However, there are few limitations of BRSR information with respect to human rights which may be highly relevant to the investor. For example, detailed information about the board's engagement with the human rights related issues, company's strategic vision on the business human rights, report authenticity, independent opinion on the quality of information reported in the company, a tick box approach followed by the most of the companies, no impact assessment report provided by the company.
In what ways organization can strategically integrate human rights consideration into its core business operations?
The company should have a robust system for collecting, analyzing and reporting of the related data with the help of technology or the any tool, internal and external, in order to provide the access of the grievances redressal mechanism to all the employees, workers and stakeholder as well. Engagement of senior management and the board of directors, incorporate human rights element into the regular risk management frameworks.
How can the BRSR assurance process help the regulators and policymakers to make decisions for human rights?
In terms of regulator or the policymakers, facilitate ease of doing business by aligning BRSR with the globally recognized frameworks and standards. The BRSR can be modified to make it more sector specific. The format of BRSR, like the data relating to all human rights related issues, for example, safety at workplace, health and well-beingness of the employees, access to the differently abled employees, customer privacy, data breaches, should be asked in the principle 5 of BRSR. Assurance of BRSR, standardization of the process, clearly define who can provide the assurance, qualifications requirement, format of the BRSR report, etc. Regulators should provide the feedback on the quality of the reports filed by the companies, which can improve the effectiveness of the BRSR.
How the human rights principle of BRSR can be leveraged more effectively to benchmark corporate human rights practices against established international standards.
The comprehensive framework of BRSR and its interconnectedness with the different global frameworks, guidelines and standards. The aim of the global benchmarking study is to explore the synergy between the principle 5 of NGRBC and the various global frameworks, legislation and guidelines, with the perception that the identifying parallels between the indicators in the BRSR and the internationally recognized principles. The international benchmarking of BRSR and its principle 5 indicators with the various global standards such as UNGP, OECD due diligence, German supply chain legislation, modern slavery legislation in Canada, modern slavery legislation in UK, modern slavery legislation in Australia, GRI and Sustainable Development Goals. Countries like Germany have either proposed or enacted legislation mandating human rights and environmental due diligence. Additionally, countries like Australia, Japan and the United States are currently reviewing regulation and enhance business transparency regarding the human rights and also accountability. The intersection between each indicator of the principle 5 and every global framework, showcasing the areas of overlap. For example, the BRSR requires companies to disclose the information about the payment of minimum wages to the employees or the workers, aligning with the similar demands from GRI, but the distinct from the other legislation and the frameworks. Additionally, the BRSR addresses the reporting of the accessibility provision to differently able visitors, which OECD guidelines along with the GRI emphasize on the importance of the reporting. OECD guidelines along with the GRI emphasize the importance of such reporting. This requirement is absent of other frameworks, guidelines, or the legislation. This reflects the BRSR's commitment to the addressing unique aspect and ensuring more comprehensive approach to the corporate reporting. The categories from the BRSR Principle 5 map against international frameworks and the guidelines like employee and workers' well-beingness, human rights governance, human rights due diligence and assessment, disciplinary actions, value chain partners, and the other stakeholders. Principle 5 of BRSR is aligned with the SDGs like SDG 1 no poverty, SDG 4 quality education, SDG 5 gender equality, SDG 8 decent work and economic growth, SDG 10 like reducing inequality, SDG 16 peace, justice and the strong institutions.
How can stakeholders collaborate to ensure the ongoing effectiveness of BRSR in driving responsible business conduct with respect to human rights?
Stakeholders can collaborate to ensure the ongoing effectiveness of the BRSR in driving responsible business conduct with respect to the human rights by establishing clear guidelines, promoting transparency and accountability, engaging multi-stakeholder dialogues, and strengthening reporting mechanism. They should also build a capacity of and awareness, leveraging financial incentives and penalties, encourage collaborative initiatives, and foster a culture continuous improvement. These collaborative efforts will help to align business practices with human rights standards and also ensure ongoing progress.
Based on the insights discussed today, what key takeaways can we offer to our listeners who want to know more about human rights principle of BRSR and its impact on businesses?
The evident linkages BRSR format is comprehensive reporting standard which shows interrelation with the standards and guidelines considered under the research. BRSR, which includes 9 principles of NGRBC, captures substantial information comparable with the global standards and the frameworks and covers information which any regulatory body or investor or market perhaps may not look for. The companies that have actively considered human rights as a significant requirement to be followed in their business strategy and operations have 4-time benchmark to many of the international frameworks accepted globally. Thank you so much, Raj.
Thank you for listening. Please follow us for part 3 of this episode. If you want to know more about our research, please visit us at www.lodaco-esgplus.com. You can also write to us on our email esg@lodaco.com. To know more about our insights, follow our LinkedIn page ESG Briefings by Loda and Co. LLP. Your insights and perspectives are valuable to us. Thank you.